Hello and welcome to another Deadlock video guide video. Today we're going over the Doorman. Roll the clip.
Destiny awaits.
The Doorman is an incredibly interesting and complicated character, and I'm really excited to show you guys what he's got going on. Pause. For the Doorman specifically, I would like to just start off with his doorway ability. And I think the first tip I have for the doorway ability is a lot of people mess up coming out of the doorway and facing the correct direction. They start off and they start turning this way when they want to go here. So you see them do the head shake. Oh, oh. And a way to fix that is to remember most of the time when you're using the doorways, it's going to be something like this. I think they're going to show off soon. But it's going to be something like this. Let me grab duration extender real quick.
A little bit of the divine right here in your hot little hands.
But you're going to be putting your doorway at a close wall and then at another wall that you can see. This is like the most normal way to use the doorways, I think. This is how they just end up being. And this is important because when you do this, you're mirroring your perspective. There's a light right there that's on my right, but in the doorway, it's on the left. So remember, when the doorways are facing the same direction, then you get a mirror effect. They're mirroring each other. So if if an enemy is running this way, I'm going to want to turn left, even though they're running to my right over here. So he's going to my right, I go to the left. And if it helps you to visualize it, you can kind of think of the doorways as a tunnel, right? So in a normal tunnel, nothing's flipped. Everything's the same. But in a tunnel where the exit does a curve, then your perspective is going to flip. It's just we're doing it instantly, so it's throwing you off. So keep that in mind in order to keep the doorways correct in your mind. And then my next big doorway tip has to do with kidnapping enemies. And a big thing to note when you're trying to kidnap an enemy, one, it's kind of greedy, if you will. Like, the doorways give a big barrier once you level them up and stuff. So, it's a bit greedy to only try to use your doorways to kidnap enemies. It's so fun, I know, but don't hyperfixate on it. And it's also really hard to kidnap someone when you don't have your ultimate or a teammate's stun to follow up on. And sometimes you're better off just carding Echo Shard, cart into some bells for damage rather than trying to kidnap. So just keep all these things in mind before you go for a kidnap, that it might not even be the right play. But a big tip is the doors won't place because of the enemy's hitbox. And it's actually, see, like, it's fine here, but then when the enemy's in the way, I can't place it. And a big thing about it is where you aim. Because Deadlock's a third-person shooter, and, your character's on the left side of your screen, the left shoulder, or the right shoulder in this case, of the enemy, but the shoulder that's on my left, I can place a portal down, like, all the way. I'm in his boob, and I can place the portal down. But on the right side, it goes the opposite way, where I can't put this portal down, and it's like floating. I'm way off his hitbox. And it's like I said, it's because of perspective. The portal's not coming from the middle of my screen, it's coming from my character. So when you're kidnapping, it's important to keep that cursor towards the left side. So you place the card, place a portal, and then boom. Now, obviously, in a real match, it's a lot harder to line that up properly. But like I said, left shoulder, and you'll get a lot closer every time. And if you mess it up, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. But if you miss the portal, you're usually going to get the stun anyways. So, not the end of the world. And then for a final note on the doorways, remember their base duration is 20 seconds and their base cooldown is 40 seconds. Meaning you can already have them up for like half the match. And then you add on top of that the extra 10 seconds they get when you level them up one time. You can have your portals up more often than they're closed, meaning you should be using them all the freaking time. And it's important to get like just experience with the portals and get used to like weird creative things you can do with them and utilize them with your teammates as well. And do not like forget about the barrier. The that barrier is massive, and you can use that to keep yourself like in a fight for way longer than you should be in. Like I've had games where I'm just spamming a fight at like half HP when I'm so low, because I'm just constantly running through my portal, getting a barrier, fighting enemies, and then the barrier goes down. I hide away for a little bit, come back, my cooldown's off, and I just do it again. All right, and on to Doorman's 1. I've already set up the training arena for it. But the main tips I have are to aim your, well, first off, when in the animation of throwing out your bell, you can just hold down left click and it'll just throw it. Like it just detonates it as fast as it can. And so the only tip there is to get used to the range on it.
Enjoy.
But then outside of that tip, my other big tip is to try to have the high ground and then throw it on the ground so you can hit the enemy and then shoot it. And if you have the low ground, do that crouch walk. But if you have the low ground, you can similarly like a lot of times the enemy's facing you, and you can throw it and it'll hit them, and then you can poke them behind cover. So it all just comes down to getting used to the actual range for the bell. So you can hit them with it and shoot it. And then the final tip is once your cart can stun, you don't have to worry about it at all. The bell, you can always shoot it through the enemy. So I picked Dynamo and Abrams because they have bigger hitboxes. And I learned here that if you're stun them against the wall, Dynamo you can't... Oh, I guess I can now. For some reason I couldn't shoot him earlier. Not a big deal. Either way, and then the alt combo is very obvious. You know, get used to the... What is it? It's got a 4-second duration. So, I mean, I guess later in the game when you have rapid recharge, the moment that the key starts to move, you could probably start throwing bells. But either way, just... something like that. I think that about covers the one. Oh, use it to clear waves as well, obviously. That's just important in general. Alright. After some testing, when it comes to the luggage cart, the best way to land it is by aiming a little more to the enemy's left. And it's because of the third-person point of view that it makes the luggage cart look more center, but it's actually kind of spawning from our character.
A trivial display of power.
Alright. As you can see, this one on the left's a little bit bigger than the one on the right. So the hitbox is a little bit more generous when you aim a little more.
Excuse me.
If you just aim for that left shoulder, you should be able to hit him every time. Alright, sorry, I was double checking something with the cart. So the big tip of the cart too is when using your ultimate, this key will spin, and that's your cue to throw the cart. And spin, and it hits him. Yeah, it hit him before he was even out of the ultimate. He was literally, like, he was still stuck in there.
Enjoy your stay.
And it still hit him. Okay, we'll do it again, do it again. And it hit it. Like, he didn't even move yet, and it just tracked him into it. Now, it gets a little bit harder when you're farther away from your target. Like so. So you're kind of just trying to guess. And obviously there's audio cues. You can kind of hear the keys start turning. But it's still quite a bit harder when you're farther away to land that perfect where they're still stuck in the ultimate. Boom. But once you get the timing down, you can hit them with the cart guaranteed while they're in the ultimate. And
That feels nice, dude. That feels good.
So like I said, pay attention to that key turning movement and then getting used to that sound because it makes like a churning sound before it even turns. So as enemies are running away at like a set speed, right? Because obviously, oh, I gotta think of this thought through all the way. In testing, the Abrams is just sitting here, so the duration's going all the way through of 6.5 seconds. But in an actual game, they're gonna come out at different times. But just listen to that churning and look for the if you have a hard time listening because it's so loud, there's all these other gunshots and everything. Look for the key to spin. Once the key spins, throw your card, and preferably throw it on the left side, like I just said.
I forgot how wonderful it can feel to be feared.
This, and a little bit on the left. And you hear that, and you should get them every time. And I think that about covers the tips on the luggage cart. The last thing I guess is just when you're kidnapping someone with the luggage cart, try to place the portal in such a way where they're gonna hopefully get stunned. Which, if you have the card upgrade, I mean, it goes really far, and you're probably gonna have greater expansion. So it's not a big deal. Like, it'll probably hit a wall, but just be careful you're not, you know, tossing them out over here.
Bought that off the Knickerbocker that was about to get his legs broken.
Step this way, please. Forgive the intrusion.
Still got what you got. I mean, all right. I think that covers the cart. The last thing is Doorman's ultimate. Doorman's ultimate. It's very important to note that when it takes enemies away, it keeps them in the current state they were in. So if an Infernus is ulting, his ult stays in the hotel. If it's a warden, his ult's gonna finish and he's gonna come out with his little like lightning zaps or whatever. He's gonna come out in his ultimate basically. And that's important to note because that also works for slowing hex and knockdown and cold front and arctic blast. All of those effects from those items are gonna be in effect still while they're in your ultimate. Which is good. It makes it harder for them to escape. And I also want to know with the ultimate is especially early, like the moment you get your ultimate in lane, you should really be hunting down for free kills with the ultimate. Because early game, if your enemy dashes once, you can probably doorway onto them and then use your ultimate on them, and they'll be stuck taking the full 400 damage. Which, especially early, 400 damage is insane. And it sets you up for a free call bell. And it sets you up for a luggage cart. Like, the odds of your ult being a kill in the early game are super high. And then finally, the last main tip I have is if you're going against a Sinclair or just another Doorman and you're playing a different character, Counterspell is really good against Doorman. Because all you have to do is fall off the hotel and then press parry and you'll block all that damage, you'll get a heal, and you'll come out with move speed. Now the ult's still good if it gets counterspelled since it's holding the enemy in place. But since you're just falling off anyways, the ult's only gonna last like a second or two. But it's still good. It's still a good 1 to 2 seconds stun. But counterspell is gonna make it way easier to survive. And then other than that, your role as Doorman is you're just a supportive character who can do a lot of burst damage and can wave clear extremely well. Use your portals actively and always have one set up in case you need to escape or in case you find like a really good kidnap opportunity. And then use everything in mind to dominate your games. And do me a favor while you're at it and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Mwah.